Hey guys, so the video you're about to watch is an interview I did on my Twitch with Brendan Davis. He is a writer and interviewer for comicbook.com, and he's knowledgeable about all stuff like pop culture, but especially Fear the Walking Dead, So he was nice enough to come on and chat with us for a little bit about the show. So basically this is just an intro about what you're going to be watching. So yeah, that's what it is. Put stuff in the comments. I'll reply if you have any questions. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to be kind, don't text and drive, and stay rad. Alright. Okay. Bye. Guys, he's calling. Sorry. Hello?
Hello?
Hey. Okay, you're on. Sorry. Just making sure my speaker was on.
Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late.
Oh, no. It's totally fine. We're just talking about Ready Player One. But now we're ready to talk about The Walking Dead. Thank you so much for coming on, by the way. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I'm happy. I'm excited.
Oh my god.
Geek out with you guys.
Yes, that's why. A lot of the people in the grouut are like pretty big fans of you. We call you our fandom lord.
I'm gonna have to get that tattooed on me or something.
Yes, that'd be amazing. So you watched, I think you wrote like a thing about it. So you watched last night's Fear the Walking Dead, right?
I did, yeah. I thought it was one of the best episodes. It was like super character driven. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Fear the Walking Dead overall this whole season, I don't know if you noticed, it's like been really cinematically beautiful in the way its storytelling goes.
Yes, absolutely.
So I had like a couple questions for you, like in the chat, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
So overall, what do you think of the season so far?
I think this is, and this might be controversial, but I think this is among the best Walking Dead content from either show. Okay. Because, like, I'm a big fan of Lost, so I'm a little bit biased, but I love flashbacks. And I think that the way they're using the flashbacks to develop characters, like the way they had Strand show, like, the scene that we expected, where he was ready to betray the group versus, like, overcoming it to, like, join the group was a lot of fun to see. And then we saw how it played out. So, you know, we're going to see, like, I just like that type of writing. Like, will he regret it? Will he grow from it? You know, that type of, like, development from the past and how it affects the present.
Yeah.
It's super strong.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. That's been one of my favorite parts, which I don't think a lot of people, because they come from being fans of the comics for The Walking Dead, is that, like, this show has more chance for writing, and the character development on this show has been really strong. And people who haven't watched Fear the Walking Dead and they say the first season is bad, they need to stick around for this season.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. I mean, I think that the first two seasons were a little sluggish. Like, they had to find their footing, and people came from The Walking Dead, and they had certain expectations because, you know, they have the knowledge that The Walking Dead gave them over the course of 5 or 6 years, whatever point it was. And this was like an entirely different world where the characters didn't know the same things that the characters in the audience knew by the time it got to the point it did on The Walking Dead. So by the time they kind of embraced that, you got to know these characters, and then late in season 2 and then all through season 3, it was just action-packed the entire time. And it has some really strong characters. And I think they, you know, I love Cliff Curtis as an actor, but I think when they got rid of him and they allowed Madison to take the lead and Alicia to grow more, it was better for the show overall because certain characters got more focus.
Yeah, for sure. See, that's like been one of our things in our chat is like the really torn about Travis dying. Me personally, I was glad to see him off because I love Madison. Her and Strand is one of my favorite characters. Do you have like a favorite character from Fear?
I think either Strand or Alicia, because Alicia has grown so much. Like, don't forget, this is the girl who earlier in the show was making horrible decisions that almost got everyone killed, and now she's such a badass. And I think that is like an awesome evolution. She's like the equivalent to Carol of this show almost. And then you have Strand, I think, who is more unpredictable, which makes him more fun to watch. And you know he wants to do what's right, but you also know, like, this is a guy who's going to do whatever it takes to survive at whatever cost that might be.
Yeah, you can definitely see a lot of parallels between the characters, and, like, we can relate them. To me, like, Strand feels almost a little bit like Daryl. He wants to take off and, you know, do his own thing, but at the same time, he really cares about the group and found a family within them. And also,
yeah, exactly.
Alicia, last night, when Naomi fell down the slide, she was like, when she just,
I don't know. That was just like one of the coolest Alicia moments I've seen where she saved her. Because I was just like thinking the whole time, I'm like, oh God, why would you come up the side? Why would you do that? It's really slippery. And then just for her to grab that gun thing and she just like went off like a badass.
Yeah, and I've talked about this I've been lucky enough to meet these guys who are part of the show, and I asked Alicia Debnam-Carey about, like, look, Alicia has totally become badass, and she said to me that we have seen nothing. Like, and I actually saw her at the Avengers premiere, and at that point I hadn't seen episode 4 yet, only the first 3, and I was like, look, the show is so good this year, congrats. And she was like, you have seen nothing. Like, it is only getting started. And I've heard a lot about the upcoming episodes, and I think there's a lot of room for her to grow. And it's just going to keep going with this momentum, and it's going to keep getting better and better.
Now I'm really excited because I'm really loving Fear. I've been a fan of Fear since season 1, and just to see it grow and other people love it makes me so happy. So, like, you're talking about how you get to meet with them and stuff. So does doing what you do, your job, you're like a reporter, so in a way you're kind of like, ow, does it change your look on the show and how you look at the show in any way?
It definitely does. I mean, I remember early on when I first started covering The Walking Dead, I would just be a lot more excited about it, and I still get excited to watch it, but now it definitely has become work to an extent. Like, I know what I have to do when I see the episodes. I know what I have to pay attention to. I know what I have to write about. And more often than not, I know what's going to happen because I'm so involved with the people who make the show and are on the show. And I've been lucky. I've been an extra in regular Walking Dead a couple times now, which is an awesome experience.
What?
But I was also like in the scene where Simon died, which was filmed like probably 9 months before it aired, and I had no idea how the story got to that point where Negan killed Simon. But I knew it was coming all along. So a lot of times I know what's coming, which changes the experience. And I would never change that. Like, I love that. I love having that opportunity. But it definitely changes the viewing experience where it's less surprising and you have the expectations. But it's harder to look at it from a fan lens like I used to, because I didn't do this until season 5. Like, for the first 5 seasons, I was just watching like everybody else as a fan, like with my mom or with my friends in college. And then season 5 is when I started working at comicbook.com and really started like doing interviews and getting the show in advance and going to the set. And it definitely changed it, but I love it. Like, I love the people in the show. I'm so lucky that this is the show that I cover, because the people who work on the show are just the most amazing, friendly, like generous people ever. So I think I definitely owe a big thanks to them, like in terms of how I've grown in my career. But sorry, I'm rambling. But yeah, it definitely kind of changes it a little bit when you're doing it for work.
Oh my gosh, no, please ramble. We'll love your stories, your Walking Dead stories. Were you been a savior or a walker as well?
I was a walker in episode 100, but my close-up didn't make the cut, unfortunately. I had pictures of it. There's like a wide shot over the top of the sanctuary where you can see me, and I know which one I am, but like there's like 100 walkers. So you won't know who I am unless I were to like take your screen and point at it. But that was an amazing experience. Like, doing the whole walker thing, it was like 3.5 hours of makeup. And amazingly, this blew my mind. This is how friendly and amazing these people are. Like, it's the people from The Walking Dead. These are the people who get thousands of fans at Comic-Con screaming at them, and just, they have fans all over the world. And I was in full zombie makeup, and Melissa McBride walked by and recognized me and said she knew my eyes, and I was like, Melissa, you are the sweetest woman on earth. Like, you're super famous. Aww. You are super cool. Like, you remember people, and that, I think, is a huge reason why the show is so successful.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I can't believe you got to do that. That's like the ultimate dream, just to even be a walker, just like to walk on the Walking Dead set.
It was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences of my life, if I'm being completely honest, because Greg Nicotero actually invited me out for it, and he knew that I hadn't been featured in a shot that would be used yet. So it was one of the last shots of the day, and they had hundreds of people as walkers, and they had filmed this whole thing with Negan and Rick shooting at each other, and it was the whole episode 100 scene where Rick does the countdown and starts shooting. And then at the end, the walkers overtake the sanctuary, and he's like, all right, hold on, we got to get Brandon in a cool shot.
Aww.
So he puts everything on hold, kind of, and has me walk out first. And, like, I've never done walker training. Like, I mean, I kind of can imagine how a walker walks because I've watched the show for years. But I was so nervous with so many people around me. When they called action, I had to be the first one to walk out and, like, do this walker walk for, like, 25 feet before anyone else walked into the frame. And it was like the coolest experience, but I'm not gonna lie, like I was pretty nervous.
Oh my gosh, that sounds fun. But yeah, I'd be nervous too because you have like people you've looked up to and stuff, like just sitting there watching you. Oh my gosh, and Greg Nicotero though, that's really cool. To me, he's like the Rick Baker of our generation.
Oh yeah, he is like the most passionate, talented dude on that show. I mean, it's amazing how they're 8 years in, 116 episodes now they're working on, and he just doesn't ever take a second off. Like, he wants to be creative and make the show better every chance he gets, and I love that.
See, to me, that's like one of the cooler things. Like, not just like about it being a zombie show, but about the story about it, and also the people on it are so passionate about what they're making, and you can tell it in the end product.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. It would be so easy at this point to get a little bit lazy with that, right? I mean, you're doing all these walkers and you're doing all this different world building and makeup, and at this point you're like, all right, we've established ourselves. We can kind of take a step back. A lot of people would say that, but they never take that approach. They go 110 on everything they do.
That's amazing. So, sorry, I want you to keep talking about that, but I guess we should talk about some Fear the Walking Dead questions as well.
Yeah, let's talk about Fear.
So, okay, this is like one of my big questions I'm freaking out about because I love Madison. Where do you think she's at in the timeline? Like, do you think she's dead? Is she captured? Is she just off on her own?
Oof, I think she's dead. I think we'll find out that Naomi is still alive, but I think we will find out that Madison is dead.
Oh my god. No.
And I know people are going to be upset, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that they're doing that. Like, they're doing so many different things with the time manipulation, which I think are really interesting, like how we know Nick dies, but he's still in the flashbacks, and they're playing with our expectations that Naomi's dead, but she's going to die in the flashbacks, and we haven't seen that one yet. I think they haven't mentioned Madison because they don't want to ruin that for people. But if you listen, and I'm sure you listen because I know how closely you watch this stuff, Luciana said that's why Nick is dead. Alicia said that's why Nick is dead. And Strand said that's why my friend is dead.
Yeah, I pointed that out on Twitter, and I was like, he better be talking about Cole, not Madison.
I think he was talking about Madison.
Oh, God.
But he could be talking about Cole, but I don't know. He had that relationship with Madison, and that would be the one that would really upset him more than anybody else.
True.
And that'll be the biggest thing I would miss, would be the Strand and Madison relationship.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things. They just have, like, such a cute connection. Oh, my gosh. I have to process that for a minute. I'm going to be like, it's not going to be as hard as when Glenn died, but it'll be hard.
Well, it's interesting because I got to go to the set, and that baseball stadium is one of the most incredible sets I've ever seen. Like, I've been lucky enough to go on some really cool sets. That baseball stadium is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. But I do know they had to be out of that baseball stadium about halfway through the production of this season because the baseball team that plays there had a season starting. So I'm thinking that baseball stadium is doomed, and Madison might go down with it.
She should have left. Okay, so is there any hope for Charlie? I don't know how I'm feeling about her. Like, I'm at the point where I'm just like, should we kill her? I know she meant not really any harm, but...
That's a tough one because you never want to, like, root for the kid to die, but, like, how do you root for anything else in this case? Yeah. She killed Nick, and I love Nick. But, man, it's good. I don't know. I think we'll see more from her. They have to have a plan for her. You know, the Walking Dead universe loves to do weird stuff with kids. So I guess we'll see. That's one character who I don't know how much they could possibly do with her. You know, like she's not going to get redemption. So I don't know. But would they kill a little girl? I don't know. That's a big question.
True. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say I was rooting for a kid to die, but when Sam and his brother died, I was kind of like really excited when what's her name, Jessie, Rick's girl, when her kids died on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like excited about that, to be honest.
What was his name? Ron.
Yeah.
Sam and Ron.
Just the most annoying kids ever. Oh God.
Oh yeah, those kids were terrible. But no, I think it's going to be interesting what they do with Charlie. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of try to maneuver that storyline.
Yeah, because, I mean, who's left to take care of her? Nick was the only one really rooting for her. I guess Madison as well. And right now, none of them are there.
No, and I also think that this thing with the Vultures, as much as I like Kevin Diegers as Mel, I don't think this might not be a story that plays out over the whole season because they may have learned on The Walking Dead, don't stretch wars out too long or the fans will get fatigued. I think that Fear the Walking Dead kind of prides itself on traveling and going to new locations. So I definitely think in the second half we might see like some expansion to different places that we haven't seen yet. But I don't know. I just think they're going to leave the baseball stadium and everything's going to start moving in different directions again.
Yeah. I mean, I hope they do. I'm just sorry. I'm just still torn about what you said about Madison. I'm going to keep it low. Let me see. Okay. So what do you like about Fear that makes it different from The Walking Dead?
Well, first of all, I like the time manipulation. I think The Walking Dead tried to do that a little bit in season 8, but it didn't do it in a way that people really enjoyed, I guess, would be like in a way that people can understand. The whole Carl thing and the vision and then like these flashes to the end, it was kind of more these weird little short snippet flash forwards instead of flashbacks to build character. The flash forwards in The Walking Dead seemed more of like a, we're going to throw you off with what's next instead of a let's develop a character. So I like that Fear is doing that to develop characters, and they did that. I like the episodes back in season 2, I think, with Strand. Like they did it, and they showed how he was a con man. So I've always been a fan of that. Yeah. I like how they explore new locations as opposed to how The Walking Dead has been in one place. I think one of the most exciting things is in this universe is when you go to a place that's uncharted and the audience is learning with the characters. Like if you go back to the early seasons of The Walking Dead, going to Atlanta was so exciting because nobody knew what to expect. And then going to the farm and then going to the prison, everything was brand new. So when we go to places like Texas and then we moved to, or when we were in Mexico, everything was new, and I thought that was really fun. And I also like how the characters are evolving. Like Strand and Alicia are unrecognizable from season 1. Like these characters have been flipped upside down. They have nothing in common with the characters they started as, and it's not afraid to take risks. Like it addressed racism last season. It took the crossover this season, and it introduced a whole new cast. And now the majority of the cast members on Fear assume. Let's say Madison's dead. I'm sorry, but let's say she is, or not actually. But even if she's still alive, you only have Alicia, Luciana, Strand, and Madison, and you even count Luciana as the original characters, and you have Morgan, John, Naomi, Althea, Mel, and Charlie. It's all more than half of the characters on the show right now are new characters, and they've all been integrated seamlessly this season. Like Althea is an amazing character to watch. Maggie Grace is great. Yes. She's so much fun to watch, and she's a badass, and she's got like a story that we'd all want to kind of know. It builds a little bit of a mystery within the characters. And then you have Garrett Dillahunt as John, and I just get so excited every time he's on the screen. This dude is so much fun to watch. Garrett is a tremendous actor, and he's like something you've never seen before in the show because they are years into the apocalypse at this point, and he's holding on to hope. Like, and he knows that Naomi is allegedly dead. I don't think she's dead, but he thinks that his Laura, a.k.a. Naomi, a.k.a. whatever her real name is dead, and he still has hope, and he's broken, and Morgan can now relate to him because he lost Jenny and Dwayne. So you have these two guys who are broken, but they hold on to hope, and they want to isolate themselves. And I just think that the way they write characters on the show is exciting at this point, and the exploration of uncharted territory just supplements that.
Yeah, for sure. That's how I felt about when I try to explain to people when they ask what's the difference between Fear and The Walking Dead. I feel like The Walking Dead has a predetermined script that it kind of has to stick to since the comic books are there. Like, you know, in the comic books, they have the all-out war, and it's going on for a while in the comics. So I think they're trying to stick to that. But where they're on Fear, they can, you know, they can make new characters. They can bring in whoever they want. They can write it however they want. And I think they have more freedom. And that's why we're seeing, like, a little bit more of artistic taste in there.
Absolutely. I definitely think that not having comic books to follow is the more exciting route. And you don't piss people off when you change from comics.
True.
Like, people were so mad Carl died. Not only because they like Carl, but because of his character in the comics.
Yeah.
On Fear, they have the freedom to do whatever they want. It's all unexpected, and they can keep going.
Exactly. I don't know. I just love Fear the Walking Dead and what they're doing this season. Well, you brought up something that kind of like... Did you see the trailer for next week?
For the John flashback
yeah.
episode? Yes, I did see that trailer.
Okay, so now it's just got me wondering, he said he was looking for Laura, and apparently Naomi is Laura, but in the flashback, it kind of looked like that he met Naomi or Laura in the apocalypse. And I'm just like confused. Is like John gonna turn into someone that we don't think he is? Or did they just like fall in love? Or it just seems kind of like a weird, like she lost her memory thing. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I do think that they met in the apocalypse. I think that maybe he has more of a story pre-apocalypse that we'll learn, but I think we might see them meet for the first time, and I think maybe they spent some time together, and maybe that's why Naomi took on a fake name or was already using a fake name. Maybe she's the shady one.
Yeah.
But I think like when she said, I can't go through this again, or I don't want to do this again to Alicia in this Sunday's episode, maybe that's a reference to she thinks John is dead, or the people that she and John were with are dead, and she doesn't want to experience that again because she also experienced it before that. So I definitely think they're going to meet in the apocalypse and get attached to each other, and then something devastating is going to happen because that's what happens on these shows.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just so interesting with these new characters. You know, we just don't know anything about them. They could have all kinds of secrets that we really don't know about and just change. And, like, same like Althea. I really love Al. But for some reason with those tapes, something's got to be up. She can't just be a one note. Like, I just want this for this.
Yeah, I think we have to see that pay off in some way. I would be really surprised if that whole journalist collecting people's storyline doesn't have a payoff. I don't know what it could be. Maybe she works for the government. I mean, look at her truck.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she just found that truck and was a journalist or something. I don't know, but there has to be some sort of payoff lingering in that. But I don't know what it is. I just really hope that it's not for nothing. It's not a one-note thing that's just for the narrative to move forward.
Yeah, we like to talk about conspiracy theories here, and a big one is that somehow, like, the Commonwealth will tie in. I don't know how we got to that, but at some point we're like, okay, the Commonwealth will tie into this, because they, like, made some hint that something else from The Walking Dead will cross over to Fear, and we're thinking, oh, with, the government trucks and stuff like that, oh, maybe she's working for the Commonwealth.
That's definitely a possibility. So you've read, you're up to date on the comics completely?
I'm like 3 books behind.
Okay. I think we might see something late in the season that could be like something fans suspect as a tie to the Commonwealth. But I don't know.
Okay. I know. The show's the best thing to come with conspiracy theories and what's going to happen.
Yeah. I think that the shows honestly might merge together. Either after this season or after the next season of Fear. I think they might eventually merge into one. Whether that happens via the Commonwealth or not, I don't know. But I do think we might get like a little play on our expectations late in the season, like teasing the Commonwealth. And I'm not sure if it's going to pay off.
Yeah. I thought that was so interesting in The Walking Dead as well, real quick, because they brought in the Commonwealth. They, like sneaked them in there, then all of a sudden we didn't hear anything else about them that season. So, but I'm pretty sure that'll be a bigger storyline in season 9.
Yeah, and I enjoy that because it's rare that The Walking Dead plans ahead. It's a very linear show. It's very straightforward. What you see is what you get, and I enjoy kind of teases of the future that end up being valuable storylines. So if Georgie does turn out to be the equivalent of Governor Milton, I'll be stoked on that. And I think we have every reason to believe she is. I actually interviewed Jane Atkinson, who plays Georgie, and I asked her, so you look like this comic book character. Are you this comic book character? And she said while they didn't explicitly tell her she is, she has every reason to believe that she is.
Oh, damn. We getting the tea, guys. Oh, this one's just like a random question, but if you could, because I know you're a big Avengers fan, right? Well,
oh yeah.
So my question is, if you can bring like one character from like Avengers, the Marvel world, to be your partner in the zombie apocalypse, who would it be?
Oh man, that's a tough one. Thor would probably just wipe them out pretty quickly. Iron Man would be kind of a dick. So, Captain America would probably protect everybody.
True.
Probably Captain America.
Oh, that's a good question. That's a good answer.
Probably
Everyone's saying we got a lot of Scarlet Witch and Deadpool. Someone said
Scarlet Witch is too strong. Like at that point, the zombie apocalypse wouldn't even be fun.
True. For me, I think it'd be probably Doctor Strange. I feel like he has enough combat skills, and also we can just teleport anywhere basically when he opens the portals.
Yeah, but then he would give over the time stone, and we'd all be like, "Yo, what the hell, Strange?"
True. He just like reverses it back, and we're like, wait, we want to be in the apocalypse.
Yeah, when he handed over that time stone, I about lost my mind, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much we can go into about Avengers. I'm like, stay on The Walking Dead, Jesse. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see. Wait, I missed it. Okay, yeah, were you a fan of the comics before?
I got into the comics after I started watching the show, so I started reading them. I think one of the first issues I bought when it was new was like issue 98, was the one where Abraham got the arrow through the eye.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't even know if Abraham was on the TV show yet, but I was like, what the hell am I reading? And then 2 issues later, Glenn got his head smashed in, and I was like, what the hell am I reading? And then I kept reading it, and I think the comics are really, really strong. And I think it kind of, in the same way we just said fear has an advantage by not having comics, I think reading the comics gives you a different experience, and it is a little bit more fun when you watch the show, and you're like, oh, so that's that moment that I read like 6 years ago, and that's how they did it. That's cool. Seeing those come to life is always really cool.
Yeah, it's also cool to see the stuff they don't do. Like, one of the biggest things for me that I always didn't feel connection was, like, Carol and Tyrese. When the show came on and they introduced Tyrese, I'm like, wait, these two don't actually seem like they would click.
Tyrese was so underused, and I wish he got the comic book story that he got. He did get an awesome death, and Chad Coleman did a great job, but he definitely did not get justice to his comic book counterpart. He's actually, so my mom is also a big fan of all this stuff, and Tyrese's death was about the time I started doing this job, and I interviewed Chad Coleman for the episode where Tyrese died about 4 days before the episode aired, but I had already seen it. And I never spoil anything for my mother, no matter how many times she asked me. She was asking me who Negan killed every day for 6 months, and I never told her. And she called me up, and she was like, how was the interview with Chad Coleman? And I was like, oh, it was okay. You know, he can't say that much because he dies. And she was like, what?
Oh, God.
I was like, oh, my God, just forget that. I'm sorry. Take it back. And that's the only time I ever spoiled anything. It was Tyrese's death.
Oh, no. Yeah, that really sucks. I mean, I guess, like, losing anyone that you get close to on The Walking Dead sucks, but there's, like, those couple characters that you're like, okay, if I lose them, I'm gonna be hurt in real life.
Honestly, if I could undo one death, it might be Troy.
Really?
I miss Troy, man. I miss Troy. He was a fun character to watch.
Okay.
He kind of deserved it. Like, he deserved to die, but, like, I didn't want him to.
Really? Oh my gosh, what's funny is I've seen people torn about that, and for me, I'm a big Troy hater, and I'm like, what? Y'all liked him?
I thought he was a strong character, and I was really sad to see him taken off the show.
Oh my gosh. Okay, do you feel the same way about Chris?
What's that?
Do you feel the same way about Chris?
No, I don't miss Chris at all.
Okay, good. Yeah, I wanted Chris off from the beginning. I was like, you're being a little brat teenager. Please stop.
Yeah, I was so glad to see that character go. And I like the actor who played him. Lorenzo's an awesome guy. But Chris was kind of the worst character ever.
Yeah, he was like The Walking Dead's Lori.
Yeah.
Man, everyone's like, I feel bad for Troy. I miss Troy. I'm like, no.
Yeah, he even crashed the truck. He is Fear the Walking Dead's Lori.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Can I get your opinion on Simon real fast? Did you like Simon?
I thought Simon was one of the most fun characters to watch in season 8, and that's in huge part because of Stephen Ogg's acting ability.
True.
He was a character who you also kind of knew had to die, but he was also the voice of reason, right? Because nobody was saying to Negan, why don't we just cut our losses? Why are we having this war? This is kind of stupid. There's like a helicopter and like a woman and stuff. Like, why are we fighting people and killing our own people? And then at the same time, he'd just go and kill a whole bunch of people. So he was a fun character to watch. I like the unpredictable characters, and I also like that he was a wild card. But I like Stephen Ogg a lot, so I think I don't know if I would ever be able to say I didn't like Simon.
True. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just like so team survivors. I'm just like, okay, they can go. They're hurting my babies. Please stop. But
But who did Simon ever really kill on the good guys?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he wasn't like a bad guy. I mean, I understand he had a voice of reason, but his voice of reason, like, he wanted the war to stop. He wanted Negan to stop, but he was like, killing everyone is our answer. It was kind of like a Thanos thing, you know?
True. But if you think about it, Dwight did more harm to Team Family than Simon did.
True. He killed Denise, right? That she got the arrow to the eye. She got Abraham's death.
Yeah, he put that arrow. That was shocking, though. I didn't expect that when I was watching that one.
Yeah, I wasn't either, because I've seen that for Abraham, and, well, I knew that wasn't going to happen because, never mind. Sorry. I just thought the wrong thing, wrong timeline, too many seasons, not enough coffee.
You're fine.
What's it called? Okay, yeah, so if Madison is alive, though, how do you think she's going to handle Nick's death? Do you think she's going to go Rick, or she'll be able to handle it like she did Travis?
You know, this is the same woman who let her daughter wander off into the apocalypse by herself.
True.
So I think she'll be all right. She'll be pretty upset because Nick was always the favorite kid, quite clearly. But I don't know. I think she'll be pretty bothered by it, but I think she'll bounce back because her job in life was to compartmentalize emotions. So I think that even if she is not okay, she'll do a good job at hiding it.
Yeah. That's like if she's alive, which I hope she's alive.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Okay.
I have a feeling I'm gonna hear from you in like a couple months, and you're gonna be like, "I hate you.
Probably.
You were right."
Yeah, and everyone's been telling me Madison's gonna die, and I've been in the denial, like Madison about the baseball field. I'm like, no, they want it. It's gonna be all right.
Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, it would be pretty shocking for them to take her off the show, especially after they took Cliff Curtis off the show.
True. I'm gonna hug my Madison doll I have right now. I'm gonna ask some people from the chat. Want to ask you some questions, if that's cool.
Yeah, cool. Let's do a few of those.
Someone said, could you ask his thoughts on Althea if Althea had a tape we see later this season with a pre-Savior Negan or a pre-Woodbury governor? Like, do you think that would be possible that they would tie it in that way, that she has tapes?
I would be really surprised if they did do that. For a number of reasons. I think, well, geographically, that would be really tough for her to be going from Woodbury, which I believe was in Georgia, or wherever in the proximity of Alexandria that Negan has been, to Texas. But she does have that truck, so it's possible. But I think that they don't want to harp too much on the crossovers. I think that they kind of pride themselves on Fear and The Walking Dead being independent of one another, which always kind of bums me out because that is an awesome suggestion that would get a lot of people excited. And I mean, the people who didn't watch The Walking Dead wouldn't be hurt by it at all. You know, if you just see a tape of one of these guys early on, it would just be a bonus for the people who know who they are, and it wouldn't be a detriment for the people who don't. But that's a little tricky. I think it also depends on the actors. I would love to see one of, like, Shane. I don't know how that could ever happen because he never was away from the group to meet Althea. But, I mean, I wouldn't count on it, but I can't say it's impossible.
Okay. Someone also asked, what are your thoughts on regarding The Walking Dead not using the F word, but Fear the Walking Dead using it? Like, I
think that comes down to an advertising thing. I think that the ads on the commercials that play on The Walking Dead probably come with some sort of agreement on the content of the show, and if they use the F word, that might change that agreement. And I think Fear the Walking Dead operates with different ads. And I'm not 100% sure on this, but I've heard this from different shows. So I think that's what it comes down to. And with The Walking Dead having about 6 or to 8 or 10 million viewers, I think they have different commercial streams or different advertisers versus Fear the Walking Dead, which has about 3 million to 4 million an episode. I think there's a difference in the deals they have, and therefore something about that is probably why they didn't use it. Even though I'm surprised because Greg Nicotero told me they were going to use it, and they did have cuts of episodes where they did use the F word in season 8, but they just never got aired, and they're not making the Blu-ray cuts anymore either. So I'm kind of surprised by that.
Wow, really? Man. I usually buy them anyways, too.
If you go back to the season premiere for season 8, when Rick counts down from 10, he actually says, F it. He's like, oh, F it when he starts shooting, but they muted it. Like, you can actually see his mouth say it, and Andy told me he did it in every take but one, so he assumes they used the take where he didn't say it, but if you look closely, he did say it. They just muted it.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I know, like, back in Terminus, he had the opportunity to use the one F word they're allowed, and he's like, no, I don't feel it's right. So I guess they get so used to it too.
And that's actually, if you watch the bonus scenes, I mean, when he says the F word in the outtake version, the take they didn't broadcast, it's so much more powerful. It makes the scene so much better. And I think they know that. I think guys like Greg Nicotero want to do things like that, but I think it might be a network policy or some sort of behind-the-scenes deal that isn't allowing them to do it.
Man, that sucks sometimes, like, when you want to be creative and give this, but it's also, like, a money thing for them, and they can't.
Right.
Someone asked
and
me,
I mean,
sorry, what were you saying?
Like, when Negan said, you are pegged, I was just like, dude, what did you just do to Negan?
Right, like, in the comic book, he's cursing literally every other word.
Yeah.
Someone asked, what was the most shocking moment so far in Fear to you?
Well, shocking moment in Fear. I was, honestly, I'm usually really in the know on these things. So when a character dies, I typically am not surprised. But I had no idea that Cliff Curtis was going to get killed off. So when I watched that episode, and I watched it about a month before it aired, and I had no idea. And I was like, there is no way. Like, is this a dream? Is this did he survive that fall somehow? And he was dead, and I was shocked. That was probably the most shocking moment for me in Fear, when they killed Travis out of nowhere.
Same. I feel like they do that a lot to their characters. They don't have really, like, big, profound deaths. It's just like, oh, this happened. Like, same with Nick. It wasn't like, I wasn't expecting it at all.
Yeah, I mean, Nick, I unfortunately knew that was coming before I saw the episode. But watching it, I usually find these things out, and I'll try to avoid at least finding out how. Like, I was just like, all right, thanks for telling me. Don't tell me how. And then when I watched the episode, when I saw that Charlie did it, that was pretty shocking to me. So that one might have been more shocking than Travis had I not known. But for me, it was Travis.
Yeah,
It was just very abrupt for Nick and very abrupt for Travis.
Yeah, like Travis, I didn't think he was dead. I was like, no, he's going to be, like, somewhere. I felt the same way with, like, Glenn, too. That, to me, was the most shocking thing. Like, me and my friend were both sitting there, and we took bets on who was going to die. And we're like, it's Abraham. And then when Abraham died, we were literally, like, screaming, clapping. We were tweeting how we were right. Then all of a sudden, we were dead
Yeah,
wrong.
they got you on the double.
That was bad. This isn't really related to anything, but someone asked, how's your day going?
My day is great, honestly. Chopped up an interview with the Russo brothers about the Avengers, played some Fortnite, went to the gym. Thank you for asking.
Are you excited for Thanos to enter Fortnite tomorrow?
Oh my God, I'm like so considering calling in work and being like, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark, because I just want to play the Thanos Infinity Gauntlet mode all day long because I'm a Fortnite junkie and I'm a degenerate apparently.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. You could still, like, I don't know, write a report or something about it. It's comic book related, kind of.
Oh, we've written 3 or 4 stories about it today.
Oh
we are definitely all over it.
Amazing.
But listen, I really appreciate you having me on. This was a lot of fun. Maybe we should do this again later in the season.
Thank you. We really do appreciate you coming on. Sorry, I just realized how late it is and how late it is over there.
Oh, you're totally fine. I'm just going to go play more Fortnite and go to bed real quick.
All right.
But I do appreciate you guys having me on. This was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate everybody who asked questions. That was awesome, so I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, and we're happy to have you anytime you want to come. We can also do an Avengers stream, because that's literally what these streams turn into. We talk about The Walking Dead, then it goes straight to Marvel.
That's my kind of stream. I dig it.
Hey, all right. Thank you so much. Have a good night, and we look forward to your, what's it called? And it's not an essay. I don't know. Thank you.
No, thank you guys. I'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay.